reports of former President Trump in a Manhattan courtroom today where he came face-to-face with New York's Attorney General Tish James. She is accusing Trump and others at the organization of widespread fraud.
The trial is expected to last a while, and it could cost Trump control of some of his properties. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor has been in the courtroom all day, joining us live outside with details tonight. Alice.
When the former president entered the courtroom, his head was down. He was scowling. His son Eric followed a few people behind him. Mr. Trump sat at the defense table. His son sat in the first row. There is no jury in this case. The judge will decide the outcome. As former President Donald Trump left the courtroom for the lunch break, he turned to New York Attorney General Tish James sitting in the front row and glared at her. Earlier on the steps of the courthouse, the Attorney General spoke.
No one is above the law, and it is my responsibility and my duty and my job to enforce it.
Last week, Judge Arthur Engoron ruled that Trump overvalued his properties and misrepresented his own worth while pursuing bank loans. Now there are 6 remaining claims, including allegations of conspiracy, falsifying business records, and insurance fraud. The former president, his 2 sons Eric and Donald Trump Jr., former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg, and Trump Organization Controller Jeffrey McConney are all defendants. During opening statements, prosecutors alleged the Trump Organization deceived banks, insurers, and others by misstating his wealth in financial statements, noting they have already shown Trump's financial statements from 2011 to 2021 were false. They accuse him of lying to secure significantly better interest rates. Prosecutors say they hid their weaknesses and convinced these banks to take on hundreds of millions of dollars in risk. A clip was played from an earlier taped deposition with Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer and fixer.
Let's say it said he was worth $6 billion. Well, he wanted to be higher on the Forbes list.
Cohen says both he and Weisselberg would be called into Trump's office to get the numbers where he wanted.
Alan and I were tasked with taking the assets, increasing each of those asset classes in order to accommodate that $8 billion number.
Prosecutors told the judge while the defendants can exaggerate to Forbes magazine or on television, they cannot do it while conducting business in the state of New York. In their opening statements, defense attorneys called Cohen a serial liar. They defended the financial statements as true, with one attorney saying valuation is an opinion about price and therefore subjective, period. Another said the Trump properties are Mona Lisa properties that can fetch top dollar. That is not fraud. That is real estate. They argue loans were repaid.
They were paid back on time, there were no defaults, there were no problems.
This is a civil case, not criminal, so if convicted, none of the defendants are facing any jail time. The judge expects this case to go until December 22nd. New York Attorney General Tish James is seeking $250 million and a ban on Trump doing business here in New York. Dana, Maurice.
Alice, so much has been made of Trump's demeanor during each of these cases. Everyone's looking to see how he's reacting. You've been there for other cases in the past. What did you notice about today?
Well, again, he had his head down. He seemed pretty ticked off to be here. You know, it's interesting. A few months ago, he did not show up to the E. Jean Carroll sexual assault trial in which he was a defendant and he was found guilty. He was not there for that. Last year, the Trump Organization for that tax fraud trial, he also did not show up for that, though he was not named a defendant in that case. Outside of court here today, he did say that he wanted to show up in person to see the quote-unquote witch hunt.
So, Alice, what's next for this specific case?
We got to one witness today, Donald Bender. He is an accountant for Mazars, which is the firm that cut ties with the Trump Organization last year. We expect to get through quite a few witnesses tomorrow. Michael Cohen should be up sometime by the end of the week.
Okay, Alice Gaynor at the courthouse tonight. Thank you so much, Alice.
Today, another court appearance was scheduled for U.S. Senator Robert Menendez, his wife, and 3 co-defendants in the federal bribery case.
But a judge granted the senator's request to not appear in court. CBS 2's Christine Sloan has the details.
The judge not saying why he granted the senator a request not to show up in court. The assumption is it had something to do with government affair. But his wife Nadine and the other defendants were here at federal court, and the judge set a May 6th trial date.
Ma'am, do you have any comments to the charges?
Nadine Menendez had nothing to say as she left Manhattan's federal court Monday. She appeared in court with 3 other defendants in the case: Fred Davies, a New Jersey developer, Egyptian-American businessman Wael Hana, and Jose Uribe.
Your response to the charges launched against you, sir?
The feds accuse Senator Menendez and his wife of taking bribes from all three businessmen, saying the FBI seized gold bars and close to $500,000 in cash from the couple's home and safety deposit box. Some of the money, the government says, stuffed in the senator's jacket and bearing Davies' fingerprints. Davies also facing another case in New Jersey. Court documents reveal Senator Menendez also provided sensitive information to Egypt's government and that Hannah and Mrs. Menendez helped facilitate meetings between the senator and Egyptian officials. The senator and all of the defendants have pleaded not guilty to the charges, but have chosen not to comment to the media. In court, the government saying that by trial, there may not be 5 defendants, raising the possibility that one of the defendants is cutting a deal with the feds. The prosecution also says it has massive amount of evidence, including information from 50 different electronic devices. The prosecution says some of the evidence includes classified information, and there could be a challenge from the senator's team. At federal court in Manhattan, Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News.